The Voice of Hell, The Tragedy of Anneliese Michel extended version. In a peaceful corner of Bavaria, Germany, where green fields stretched beneath eternally gray skies, and church bells echo solemnly each Sunday, lived a quiet young woman, with deep eyes and a soft voice, Anneliese Michel. Those who knew her described her as noble, intelligent, and devoted, so faithful that even her mother, Anna, would often say her daughter was a gift sent directly from heaven. A girl of prayer, silence, and pure heart. But sometimes, the purest souls are the first to be touched by darkness. It was 1968 when the first incident occurred. Anneliese was 16, living a calm student life. That night, after saying her evening prayers, she went to bed early. At midnight, she awoke. Something heavy pressed on her chest. She couldn't move. She couldn't scream. She felt a cold force paralyzing her body. In the dim light of her room, between the wardrobe and the wall, she saw a tall, shadowy figure whose eyes weren't eyes at all, but burning coals glaring at her with hatred. The doctors later called it sleep paralysis, but to Anneliese, it was the first visit from something that would never leave her again. In the following months, the visions continued. She began to hear voices, at first distant, then unmistakably personal. They spoke of death. They cursed her. They told her God hated her. Terrified, she clung even more to her religion. But the more she prayed, the more violent the voices became. When she tried to attend Mass, something inside her would burn. The crucifix above her bed would fall to the floor, twisted. By 1970, after multiple seizures and terrifying episodes, Anneliese was admitted to a psychiatric clinic. Doctors diagnosed her with temporal lobe epilepsy, claiming her hallucinations were neurological. She was prescribed strong medications, Tegretol, Dilantin, Alept, but nothing worked. Her physical condition worsened, and spiritually, she was unraveling. The devout girl could no longer say full prayers without shaking. Sometimes she said something inside her was choking her, whenever she tried to speak the name of Christ. Then came the strange behaviors. She walked in circles for hours, whispering nonsense. She tore off her clothes, slammed her body against walls, and growled. One night, her parents found her under the kitchen table, chewing a live spider. Her lips were stained with blood. Christmas 1973 became a scene from a nightmare. At the family dinner, Anneliese stood suddenly, threw her plate, walked to the living room crucifix and spat on it. Then she screamed, in a voice deeper than hers, "Cursed be you, Christ." Silence followed. Her mother burst into tears. In that moment, they stopped believing it was mere mental illness. Desperate, the Michels sought help from priests. Most refused. They said it was a medical matter, not one for the church. But one priest, Father Ernst Alt, listened. He watched Anneliese tremble at the sight of a rosary, and knew it went far beyond the psychological. He began petitioning the bishop for permission to perform a formal exorcism. In 1975, permission was granted. Father Alt, along with Father Arnold Renz, began following ancient Rituale Romanum. The first session took place on September 24th. Anneliese screamed for 4 hours straight, her frail body twisted with unnatural force. She spoke Latin, Aramaic, and even dialects no one could identify. She claimed to be possessed by Lucifer, Cain, Judas, Nero, even Hitler. Over the next 10 months, 67 exorcisms were performed. In some sessions, she threw herself against walls. In others, she begged for confession through tears. Her body became emaciated. She refused to eat, saying, "The demons won't let me." Her skin was bruised, bleeding. She completed over 600 genuflections a day, collapsing on her knees until her bones cracked. Yet, between the horror, moments of clarity remain. During them, Anneliese would hold her mother's hand and whisper, I'm doing this for others, to save them. Her faith never faltered. Even in misery, she prayed. She claimed the Virgin visited her, that God had asked her to suffer, and her soul would be saved. The final session was held on June 30th, 1976. That night, she requested confession. She had no strength. Her voice was barely a whisper. She turned to her mother and said, "Mom, I'm afraid." In the early hours of July 1st, her heart stopped. She was dead. Only 23 years old, she weighed just 66 pounds. Her body was that of a martyr or a victim, or maybe both. The trial was swift. Her parents and the priests were charged with negligent homicide. The courtroom heard real recordings from the exorcisms. You could hear growls, screams, overlapping voices. People wept. Others covered their ears. The verdict, 6 months suspended, but the church remained silent. Today, Anneliese Michel's grave is visited by believers, skeptics, and the curious. Some pray for her soul, others ask for miracles, and some try to call forth whatever they believe still lingers in that place. And the recordings, yes, they still exist. Those who listen to them say something dark stirs in the air. That cold breath brushes their skin. That something watches from the shadows. Because if this story teaches us anything, it's this: evil doesn't always leave when the doors are closed. Sometimes it stays, and other times it chooses you.